Hey everyone, this is Matt from drawingtutorialsonline.com. Yes, I have the right glasses on, and here we go with another live stream. And we got an ad here. All right, let me just make sure that we have sound on this video, and then we'll get started. We're going to crank through this drawing today. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm actually, okay, there you go. I didn't want to start like that. I kind of wanted to start a little bit more professional with banging the keyboard. Okay, it's going to be one of those. It's not. It's going to be a really, really good live stream. We've got Truffs in the house back there. And yes, okay, let me see how this is going. Okay. Cool. So, welcome to another live stream. My name is Matthew Archambault. I'm the owner of drawingtutorialsonline.com. And in today's class, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing the pose that you just saw on the screen. I put it in the posts on my YouTube channel. Unfortunately, I have to cover it up. I will be posting this video on my website also with the photo that is not covered up. For members of DTO, you can get that there. I will do that later today. Okay, so I think, I need to draw it. Now, okay, so this was viewer requested, okay? I do believe Larry had requested this. Rick also might have requested this. Larry and Rick are both members of my website, and they kind of do very similar drawings, and they're really into that realism figure drawing thing. So this is for them. And but first, people, I need to do my warm up. Okay. Actually, yeah. Yesterday we were doing. I can't believe I'm going to say this on YouTube, but I never really drew the Loomis head. And then yesterday I had a class on the Loomis head, and it was kind of fun. And so, yeah, we did one. Where is it? It's like right over here. So I use a different method for drawing heads. I kind of do more of shadow shapes versus light shapes. And actually, let me do this. Let me switch cameras here so I don't feel so awkward. Yes. So, yeah, okay, so this is kind of how I like to draw. I just draw with shapes. And then I do practical measurements. Like, I'm like, okay, what's right across from the ear? What's right across from the top of the ear? What's right below the brow bone? What's right across from the top of, what's right up above from the top of the lip? And so I did one with the Loomis method. Let me lower this. I did one with the Loomis method, and then I did one in the way that I really, really like to draw. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I need to calm down. And I was pleasantly surprised with the Loomis method. I've been doing my own version of how to draw heads out of the imagination, and it's much simpler than that. Maybe one day we'll do a class here on YouTube. And where is my chat? Why am I not seeing my chat? Chat is disabled. What the? Okay, hold on. I need to go into my YouTube studio. You're going to bear with me here for a moment, people. You're going to bear with me. I need to go into my YouTube restrictions. That's what it is. No, it's not made for kids. Let's save that. And show more. I'm sorry, I screwed up with this. No, there's no featured places. And the chat should come on. And let me just go. Let me save this. And let me just make sure that live. I'm sorry. This is so unprofessional. My bad. My bad. And goodness gracious, you're all waiting for me to teach you how to draw, and here I am. I screwed up. Okay. Let's see now. Is the chat enabled? Let me refresh the page. There it is. Okay. All right, I need y'all to say hello to me so I know that this is working, and I also need you to let me know how it sounds today, the sound on this video. And then I promise you we will get to drawing momentarily. I definitely need to zoom out. Hey, Phoenix. Okay, chat's up. Thank you. Yeah, YouTube has this weird thing that if you make it for kids, because, yeah, it's you can't have chat for whatever reason. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being patient with me with this disruptive start. And the sound is good, Phoenix? Sound is fine. Hey, Slawjack, welcome, welcome. Okie dokie. So I'm just going to put a little piece of paper down here. And so I'm going to do a warm-up first, and then we're going to get cranking with this pose. Okie dokie. So the first thing that I want to do here is I just want to give myself like an idea of where my screen ends and all that jazz so I can draw actually on the screen. And so, all right, let's do this. So first thing, you know me, I'm repetitive, but this really works for me. So I'm using my Col-erase pencil, and I have it in a pencil extender because Col-erase pencils are premium nowadays. So when I do my warm-ups, I'm trying not to lift my pencil off of the paper. I'm trying to be sloppy. I'm trying to draw with continuous line. And I know I do this at the beginning of every live stream because for me, this is the most vital part of warming up. And the figure is pretty much ovals. And so what we do next is we say, okay, let's just draw one side of the oval. Repetition is the mother of skill. And now let's draw the other side of the oval. Let's draw another side of the oval. Let's draw another side of the oval. And now let's go long and do more of like a line of action, which kind of makes almost like a candy cane stripe like that. This is ginormously important for those of you who really like to do gesture poses. Poses that are 1 minute, 2 minute, 30 seconds, 3 minutes. Yes, okay. Because when you do these gesture poses, you don't want to outline the figure completely. What you want to do is draw part of the figure, and it's quicker that way. And this is a rhythm that dances down the body. I'm going to do this at the beginning of every live stream because this is what I feel is the most important thing to drawing. Now, when you combine this with the angles, so I say to the students, okay, cool, let's just draw a shape, any weird abstract shape like that, and let's use straight lines. Okay, now right next to it or right below it, draw the same identical shape. And if you start to incorporate this into your practice, i.e. your warm-up, you will get better quicker. That's just the history that I've seen with both myself and my students. And now, if we want to be taking it to the next level, what we can do is we can say, okay, cool, I'm going to shade that shape of value, and I'm going to try to match that value over here, and I'm trying to shade in a solid way. So that's all of drawing to me, what I just did there. Staying loose, drawing curvy, and then knowing where to draw accurately, because that's what this practice is, and matching values. To me, it sounds like so simple, those three things, but really that's all of drawing. So for instance, with the pose that you see over there, let me just resharpen the pencil here. With the pose that you see over there, basically, if I start that pose, I'm starting it with that shape. Now, I'm being very, very stylized, but now I'm doing a continuous line, and I'm kicking out this gal's butt, and that's the shape of her body. Now, okay, I didn't draw the breast, but let's do that. Let's get the rib cage, and let's get the lower abs. Let's kind of kick this in. And now, yes, the glutes kind of kick out, and maybe the back is a little bit straighter up. That's cool. But that's the shape. So what I could do is I could draw it first with this loose line. That's what I did. And then I started to use more of a controlled line. And I said, oh, okay, cool. Breast, rib cage, and that angles in, angles out, angles in. So that's how I really, really like to draw. And yes, okie dokie. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to do just like a little bit of a warm up of this drawing. And let's move this over like that. And I'll show you. But first, let me just get a little swig of my coffee here. Any questions so far? Okay. So let me just do a quick version of this drawing. And 1 second. And then we're going to dive into the white charcoal. So today's class is really about the white charcoal. Right now, this is just my warm-up, and I do want to teach you some technique here. So let me mark my paper again. But actually, let me zoom out a little bit here. Good. Okay. And I'll mark this once again. So I want it to be bigger when I do this kind of gesture thing. I don't want it to be too small. Okay. Perfect. So now if I'm going to draw this pose, okay, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to, let's see, okay, I like to start at the shoulders, i.e. the front of the body, the chest in this particular case, because that's where my line of action is going to start. So my line of action would be, I'm going to move it over a little bit so I can get that leg in. My line of action would be this, going all the way down to it's more extreme. Is that on the screen? Yeah, cool. Okay. So that is my quick line of action. I'm being very, very scribbly with this, and it's even more extreme than that. This foot actually, she's got a super duper wide stance, so I can kick that over there. So then what I'll do next is I'll come on in and I'll draw the model's torso, and that includes top of the shoulders. It includes the back of the butt. And so I'm not going to outline it 100%. And then maybe what I'll do is a line over here that indicates the front of the pelvis. And then I see that this girl's glutes are really kicked out. So then I'll do my letter C's. So it's going to be the letter C. Let me just do something here for a second. Let me do the letter C, just like what we did on the warm-ups. And then I'm going to do the opposite letter C, and then I'm going to go into the model's foot. Okay, I'm not going to get stuck there. I'm going to come over here and kind of just do a curved line, and that starts like a little bit higher. And then maybe I'll gesture down. Is that on the monitor? Yes. Okay, and then which foot is higher than the other? And so, yeah, my proportions are not great right now, but we're not too concerned. It's just a warm-up. And this is kind of familiarizing myself with the pose. And when you do this, you could take your time with it, but I'm just trying to show you like something different here, how I would gesture this out like in the beginning. And I think if you're going to spend like an hour on a drawing, which is what we're definitely going to do, I think it's really important to kind of gesture it out like this. Okay, now what I can do for you is I can zoom in just a little bit, and let me just lower this sheet of paper here. Good. And that's level enough. It doesn't need to be perfect here. So now what I'll do is I actually need to look at the pose. Like I'm a little frazzled today because I started late. So now I would just start to come on in. I could still use continuous line. That kicks in way more. The back and her torso is a little bit thicker. Wow, this glute and hip really kicks out like that. And now maybe what I should do is I should, even on like a quick pose like this, I'm going to do my line that separates the light from the shadow, and I'm going to go straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down. I've got some shading in there now. Sure, I could shade a little bit of the bottom of the breast right there, and then I can say, oh, okay, cool. So this leg dives down, and it's pretty thick, so that leg is under the privates, and now I'm going to use my S curve over there. Perhaps I can kick out the front of the knee a little bit more like that. And so now it would be my opposite, letter C. I'm looking at the negative space. And I might just cruise on down like that, do some mummification lines on that foot. I'll keep it simple. And then let me come back over to this leg. And now with this leg, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do something different. I'm going to do some tonal suggestions. And now, wow, this leg is really, really super duper, way more horizontal than what I've got. I could connect the feet with a gesture line. And now, yeah, okay, so this is actually super duper extending out like that. Now I could still continue with my tone, being extremely sloppy with this. It would have been nice if I got that gesture a little bit more. So, but you see what I just did there? How I just, when I ran into like a little bit of an issue with my proportions, I just went to shape. You don't always need to do like the perfect outlined pose. For me, this is easier. This is better for me if I'm kind of messing up. And now I can say, well, you know what? Maybe that leg, that foot, I would have it higher, and then I'm just going to connect those two like that. So now I could still do like a little bit of tone over here. I can kick out the model shadow, and I can kick out that arm, shoulder, I meant to say, not shadow. And then yes, so that's the pose. Are my proportions like spot on? No. Is that the pose? Yes. Things that I need to look out for. Any questions, people? We have 16 people watching. I'm very grateful that you're watching me today. So you have my attention. So if you have questions, I would love you to ask me some questions before we get to our drawing. And I also have, let me show you what I've got here. I have two versions of this photo. Do you want to do the full one, or do you want to do more of a cropped version? I kind of would like to do more of a cropped version of it. But if you want to do the full, I could try to do the full. Okay, time is of the essence. Now, what about the head, Matt? You're not doing the head. What up with that? So the head is just, it kind of continues from the breast. I'm just doing the letter C for the front of the face. I'll go in. Now I'll ask myself the question, if that's the model's butt, I think that butt still needs to be kicked out. Oh my God. The hair over here is to the right of the butt. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of use continuous line. I'll scribble in the hair. I'll get the neck, and I'm not doing a full-blown portrait with this. I'm just showing you how I would be scribbly, and I can look at the negative space. I love this model's hair. She's got like big hair, and so that would be the shadow side of the face. And yeah, so that's like my scribbled version of this particular gesture pose. Okay, so things that I need to look out for when I draw this pose. What do I need to look out for? I need to really make sure that I didn't capture this angle, but I need to capture this angle of the front of the pelvis area. And this leg actually starts here. So I need to be very, very conscious of that. Could you next time do a study over Michelangelo's? Okay, I'm writing that down. Yeah, next time we can maybe try that, at least for part. How do you spell that? Yeah. I've got a Michelangelo book over there. Maybe I'll get it like midway through the live stream, and it will give me a chance to get up. Cropped is a good idea. Okay, cool. So I need to be conscious of that. I need to be conscious of that negative space. And I feel like I also need to be extremely conscious of that distance when I draw. And I also need to be conscious of that this is flipping extremely wide, and I didn't get that. I definitely didn't get that width right there, but that's okay. I also need to be conscious of that hair coming down. Now, what about the elbow? I need to be conscious of the elbow and the elbow is kind of equal with the breast, give or take a smudge of space. Yes. Now, what about something on the portrait? I'm going to go with the chin, and the chin is equal with the line that separates over there. So I think this is really a great exercise for you. Let's say you want to draw from a photo, and you want to do a really good job. You should take, how long are we on this live stream so far? 20 minutes. Okay, so I screwed up in the beginning. I wasted some time. I had to fix the chat. And so let's say we've been doing this drawing for about like 5 minutes. Maybe 6. So wouldn't it be smart for you to really try to do a 5-minute drawing of a pose that you want to draw for like an hour or two on a Saturday, or here we are, what is today, Wednesday afternoon, and just kind of on the piece of paper, say what's right below the hair, what's right below the elbow. Another good one is what's right below the butt, if I can continue with that line all the way down. And that's good too, because now when I do that, I realize, holy, that foot is so, like, okay, I'm holding my pencil. And yeah, this foot is way over there. So I need to be very conscious of that when I draw this. But I think I'm going to kind of stick with part of the pose, and this was my lesson for the whole pose. Now, listen, let's go back to the warm-up. And I'm going to have to zoom out even more at risk of showing too much of my whatchamacallit setup over here. It's going to just be a mess. Ooh, okay, this works for me. So listen. I'm just going to move this over. This is a really good opportunity for me to teach and talk about stuff. Now, if you were in you might still be in the pre-college course. It was a 3-week course. If you were in my pre-college course, are you watching this today? If you are, welcome. But didn't we talk about this in class, every single class day? So look, I practiced drawing the ovals, and I did it with continuous line. What is everything that we're drawing over here? Well, the hip is an oval, the rib cage is an oval, the breast is an oval, the shoulders make an oval, the meat of the muscle over here with the quads is an oval, the gastrocnemius calf muscle is an oval. Now, am I going to draw these ovals all over my sheet of paper? Absolutely not. But I'm just showing you the reason why I do that warm-up with those ovals. Now, look, and then we said draw part of the oval. Just draw part of the oval like that, and then the left, and then the right, and then the left. So I kind of did that. So we drew first a long line of action. That's what this is. That's why you should do this when you do your warm-up. Long line of action. Truffs, you're killing me, girl. You're killing me. And do we need to see me? Do we need to see me? Let me put this down over here. Yeah, okay. So that's very, very important. And then look, we talked about these shapes. So with those shapes, I'm looking at drawing this. This is a shape of the shadow right over here. So that's kind of an abstract shape, people. And I'm also looking at other weird shapes, and I'm being a little bit more angular. So a weird shape, believe it or not, is the negative space in between the legs. And that there is also a very, very weird shape. Is this making sense? Does anybody have any questions? We've got 23 people watching, and I appreciate all of you watching here today. Let me look here at Theodore. Hi, Matt. I've learned so much from your lessons. You were one of my first artists on YouTube. What helped me a lot to get better. Regards from Austria. Well, thank you so much for watching. And we're going to get started now with the white charcoal pencil. Let me just put Truffs back up there. Oh, see Truffs. Oh, wow, she jumped up there. Okay, cool. Let's say hello to Truffs. Let's go back there. Truffs, you jumped up. I'm impressed. Wow. Truffs is, I think, 11 years old, 10 and a half or 11, and she definitely has some arthritis, no doubt about it. And she has a hard time jumping up there. And my other French bulldog, so sad, we had to put Chloe to sleep in, gosh, May. And so she's a little lost. She's grew up with Chloe. The day she came home from the wherever we got her, the kennel, she was introduced to Chloe, and Chloe was kind of like her mom. And Chloe was 12 and a half years old, almost 13. And that's very old for a French bulldog. So we had to put Chloe to sleep because Chloe got a brain tumor and not good. And I can't believe I'm talking about it right now. It's very, very sad. So Truffs is lost. So Truffs is, my wife's not home. She's on a business trip. So she has to be around humans. So I'm the human she's around today. Yeah, good job, Truffs. Okay, another sip of coffee, and then I'm gonna show you a couple of drawings, and let's switch back. Let's switch back to this screen. Let's go here. Mead paper. Ooh, okay, cool. Now, a couple of drawings. A couple of drawings. So I showed this drawing on my posts, and let me zoom in a touch. And this is on toned tan paper. Today we have toned gray. So let me just share with you a couple of things that you need to understand kind of before we get started here, things that will help you. And I said I was going to get another swig of coffee, so I lied. I got to get another swig of coffee. 1 second. Number one, when you are drawing this pose, or the pose that we're going to draw today, only use the Col-erase in the shadow. Notice I am not putting white charcoal in the shadow. So that's step number one. Step number two, draw the pose first, the shadows first, before you even touch the white charcoal. Now, this is where it gets tough because you're going to be watching me and you're going to be like, I thought this was a class on the white charcoal. What are you waiting for? Well, you have to set up the shadow first, right? You have to set up the shadow first. And then once the shadow is set up, then you start with the white charcoal. Now, this is the white charcoal pencil that I'm going to use today, the General's white charcoal. It sounds like so cheap, like General's, like the brand X. But it's actually a really cool pencil, and I really, really like it. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing kind of like a painter. Now, what I also use when I do this is I've got brushes that I use to blend the white charcoal. So I'll put the white charcoal down, and then I'll blend it, and then I'll do it again, and then I'll blend it, and then I'll do it again. And I also have brushes that I only blend the black pencil with. So if I start to blend the white charcoal in the light, like near that breast with this brush, I'm going to like make it muddy. And all the residual pencil that's on the brush is going to get on the white charcoal part of the drawing, and it's going to make mud. It's going to make too much gray, and that's no good. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Now, this is kind of what I would like to do today. And quite frankly, this is kind of a tiny drawing, but it's, you know, I would say this was a drawing that was done in hours. And it's roughly like 6 inches wide. Let me show you one more. And I like the toned tan a lot. I really, really do. Now, this is the difference between the tone tan and the tone gray. It's okay. It's okay. Now, let's look at another one, and then we're going to start this sucker. So now, this one, I love this drawing. It's a really cool little sketch. Let me zoom out. I'm sorry. I know I'm probably bugging your eyes out. I'll just leave it like this. It's cool. Got to get it under my iPad where my reference is. So now this, what is this? This is illustration board that I painted and I drew on top of it with the white charcoal. And Col-erase. And what is really cool is that whatever color the board is starts to show through in the translucent shadow areas, like over there. That looks really warm. It's kind of just like painting. So for those of you who aren't into painting, you don't want to deal with cleaning your brushes, it's not for you, too much hassle. This is a really, really cool way to kind of draw like a painter. But you know, it's hard. I'm not going to lie and say it's easy. It's hard. But I actually like drawing on the illustration board better than the paper. So they're slightly different. But yeah, now I'll close with this, and then I'll answer some questions before we draw. The cool thing is that you could tint your board. Like this is tinted like a warm gray. The other side, it's a cooler gray. And the illustration board, you can see how thick it is. And I really love this. I really do. Now, what is the difference between white charcoal and white pastel? I don't have an exact answer for you. I do have pastel pencils, and I absolutely despise them. I do. So let me see if I can grab one right now. I hate pastel. I don't want to turn anyone off, but I suck at it. That's why I hate it. Hold on, people. Look, I've got these pastels. There's not a chance in hell I'm using these suckers. Ooh, I found it. Timeout. Well, I was wrong. I thought I found it. I found colored pencils. I'm going to give you an educated guess on what I think the difference is between white charcoal and white pastel. It's just whatever binders they put in that pencil. I find that I have very, very bad luck with pastel pencils in terms of like I'm sharpening them and they keep breaking. Like this charcoal pencil is incredible. It's really incredible. Like look at the point that I could get with this pencil in my sharpener. Like that's insane. Like when I do that with the white, it just doesn't work for me with the white pastel. Pastel pencils tend to be a thicker wood, and so I can't get them into my sharpener. To tell you the truth, like for me, it's just I've had bad experiences with pastels. It's just me. I'm not a fan, but yeah, the white charcoal really, really works for me. Okay, let me get started with this drawing for you. So I'm going to move this, and I don't want to screw it up because I love that little sketch. I guess we're going to use paper. Let's use paper, not the illustration board. The illustration board, though, is awesome. So I'm going to use the gray paper. And just, I need a little time here to set this sucker up. So let me switch cameras. Okie dokie. And yeah, okay. Let me move that. Let's move this warm up. Good, good. And let's take this gray paper. Put it right there. So for me, this, let's see, okay, how big is this? I appreciate, as I hit the microphone, sorry about that. I appreciate you just chilling with me and allowing me to take the time to set this up. So for this study, it's going to be in the 7-inch range, okay? The drawing's going to be smaller, but yeah, okay. Just want to make sure this is level on the, and let me put a piece of tape there. And I'm sorry, I really want the paper to be level. So that's basically 4 5/8 from the top. 4 5/8 from the top. We're golden. We're golden. And last piece of tape. Okay. So let's start drawing this gal's torso. And yes, another sip of coffee. Okay. Sorry for the bald head there. So what I'm going to do here now, I'm choosing not to draw this whole pose. So I'm just going to lay that out on the table first and foremost. Now, this paper has that dark there. That's a little annoying. So I'm going to flip this. Doggone it. Okay, had it all set up. The paper comes that way. Yeah. Okay, let's just start. So where am I going to start? I'm going to start with the breast at the arm here. The breast at the arm. Now I'm drawing her left breast first, and I'm pressing down very lightly. I know. Oh my God, you're probably like, oh my God, I can't even see what he's doing. This is so freaking boring. But you've got to just chill for a moment and let me kind of set this up. So now I'm not, do you see how I'm drawing? I am not drawing with my opposite C's because this is more of a torso study. So I want to use more of a controlled initial first lines there. So I get it, people. There's not much on the paper yet. We're going to get there. So now I say to myself, what's right below the tip of the breast? It's pretty much that rib cage. What's right below the rib cage? The navel's over to the right. Okay, cool. Now, I'm not going to get stuck there. I'm going to try to get the thickness of the model's back. And actually, what I want to do here, people, is I want to put a little piece of scrap paper for my hand to rest on because I noticed with this paper, if you have any moisture on you, like sweat to be exact, but it's very cool in my house right now, I noticed that this paper starts to buckle a little bit, and I hate that because then it bounces when you put your pencil on the paper. So getting back to this now, I'm going to, and it's still buckling right there, which I absolutely despise, but hey, we're going to rough it today. Now, where the back meets the hip butt, it's a little lower than the model's navel. So I'm going to go down there and I'm wrapping in, and this is the model's scapula. A good place to end this drawing should be like mid-arm, almost like this is a statue at the museum, and this rolls in. Okay, cool. Now, I shouldn't be like too perfect with this, so I need to draw a little bit faster. So this was the angle that we talked about, and I'm going to move the drawing so it's better placed on the screen. I just need to get it first on the paper, and then I will move it. So I am now looking at where the back touches the scapula, and now I'm saying, well, maybe that butt needs to be a tad higher. Kicks out. Privates, ultimately, that's our torso peanut shape right there. And that would be the leg. Okay. And this would be the back of the model's butt. And then this would be the top of the hip butt. And so this leg starts here a little bit lower. Cool. Now I can place the drawing so it's better for you to see me work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off the page one more time, and I'm going to center it on the screen so then I could zoom in, and you can see what I'm doing with this technique a little bit more clearly. Okay, now, here we go. Okay, perfect. Good. So, okay, we've got that. That's our first go-through. And really, when I look at my piece of paper, it's perfect for me right now because it's centered pretty much on the paper for this study. Remember, we're doing a charcoal study today. That's the crux of this class. And yes, so now, okay, I've got that, and maybe what I can do is start to do some flow lines. I like to, gosh almighty, connector lines. So this comes in, comes out, and now if I follow through with the roundness of this gal's butt, I'm going to come through and flow to this leg. And if this was the Greek and Roman wing at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, all those statues that were legs were chopped off by the Romans. The Romans had good aesthetic. They chopped the legs off mid-thigh. So mid-thigh is a great place to crop. I'm joking, but yeah, it's just mid-limb is a very good place to crop the body. Now, I'm also, now, okay, cool, we got that. Now I need to do some interior measurements. So I need to look at where the thigh is and the bottom of the breast. That's not that tall. So I'm going to put in that shadow of the bottom of the breast. That's my first shape in this drawing. I need to go a little faster. I'm going a little bit too careful here. So this is the rib cage. I'm not pressing down hard. That's the navel area. This is that severe angle in. And then we have a fold of skin. And then that is privates over there. Now, what I think what I really, there's the other breast that I didn't draw just yet. But now I'm going to just indicate a little bit of the side of the breast. And I'll come on in. And now I'm going to start with the line that separates the light from the shadow. And I'm looking at this width. Now this breast could angle in a little bit more. And now I'm looking at this. Perhaps I'm going to go a wee bit thicker, at least with the upper back, mid back, and then the scapula comes out. So I'll dive in now and I'll say, okay, this is kind of the lat muscle scapula. It's equal with the breast. And then we've got this flowing into either, I think it's a serratus anterior muscle, a little finger-like muscle that comes from your scapula, back of your rib cage. I'm looking now at from here to the bottom of the breast, and that needs to be a tad closer. And it could come in to the left a little bit. So now I'm coming on down with my line that separates, and I'm going to come in. Now this is the bottom of the model's rib cage right there. And then we go around. That needs to be kicked to the left. And now I'm going around the oblique muscle. And then it starts to flow into what is called the gluteus medius right over here. And this truly is our line that separates the light from the shadow. It's going around the model's butt. So this is the gluteus max now. And then I wrap around, and then it goes down the leg. The rest of that leg's kind of a little bit more in shadow. Now, could I come over here and, the front plane of that thigh, the upper leg, it has some light? Yes. So it's my theory, and you don't need to agree with me, but it's my theory that you should now shade. But I want to place the arm before I start to shade. And why should you shade? I think you should shade because you might see your proportions better with shapes. Definitely. So I'm going to cruise around, and I want to get this shoulder. Deltoid angles. Now, you don't have to get the other arm. You could use your artistic license and leave it out. I haven't made a decision what I want to do yet, but I am going to go up to this arm, and I'm going to stop that arm like right there. Okay. And I don't know where I want to stop that leg, so I'm not going to outline it, but that's like mid bicep. That's a good place to end the drawing. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, everybody, is I'm going to shade. So I'm going to do a diagonal pencil stroke. I'm barely pressing down hard on the pencil. This is my first go through, and we're going to blend this with the brush. Now I am going to draw that arm. So it comes down, and where is the forearm in relationship to the top of the hip butt? It's about there. Now, what did we just draw there? What did we just do? What's this? The shapes, angles, curvy. I'm basically drawing a triangle here for that arm. I'm not looking at it as an arm. I'm looking at it as a triangle. Now, the big question is did I draw that triangle too big? Does the upper back need to be wider? I keep making this gal is built, so her upper back is very thick, and now I can draw my line that separates down the forearm, and I'm gonna just let's stick with the diagonal shading like that. I don't want to go too dark with that arm because it's background. So now I'm going to just shade here. Just establishing the first go through with my shape of light and shape of shadow. So I hope you're drawing with me here today. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat. It's a very quiet chat today, but I appreciate you joining me. So now I'm just going to feather that away. See how I feathered that away? Yes. Don't end that leg abruptly, especially like we kind of just started. You don't want to start pressing down hard with your pencil just yet. This is like we're still in the mapping out phase of this pose, so I'm going to stick with the diagonal pencil stroke. And I'm digging that. That looks really good. Now there's something about the breast area that's a little funky. So, 1 second. I'm going to just use the kneaded eraser and get rid of all that. Cool. Now, one more swig of coffee. It's beyond cold. Yeah. Okay. So this is what is called our first go-through. It's our first go-through. Let me... That's good where it is. It's good where it is. Let me resharpen the pencil. And I think I need to deal with the breast area. So the breast, from the breast to that leg, it's a tough call. Could it be lower? Could it be higher? So let me just lower this a touch. Now, listen, everybody. If you're drawing with me, do not start to press down really hard with your pencil right here. Do not. Keep it. This is a study, and we're trying to be a little bit more realistic. And so don't press down so hard where, you're like, oh, God, that's the light and I went too dark. I shouldn't even be outlining this right now, but I want to make sure that I'm placing the breast correctly. So now the other breast angles, and then it curves like that. Okay, I'm cool with that. It's not perfect. Maybe this arm, I'll bring it down a little bit. And let's get the center of the breast just by referencing an oval like that. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to say the other side of the rib cage, the center line of the rib cage, and then this kind of touches the edge. Now, I should not be pressing down hard with this. This is the front of the rib cage called the costal margin, and it kind of fades away over there. So now listen, I like outlines. I'm sorry. There are teachers, and I've had teachers that said there's no such thing as an outline. That's cartoony. There is only a tone next to a tone. Great. I agree with that. But I still like drawing outlines. For me, one of my most favorite artists out there is Alphonse Maria Mucha. And the outlines and the line of Mucha kind of, for me, supersedes what teachers have said to me in the past when I was in school, when I was younger, that there's no such thing as outlines. It's only a tone next to a tone. That's fine, but outlines are just sexy. That's my thought. When I think of Alphonse Maria Mucha, I think of like sexy line. And hey, there's sexy tone too, but I just like line and tone. So this is a little confusing over here. I need to clarify what's happening here. I'm a little messy. And so, okay, let's start again. I'm just trying to get exactness. And now this fold of skin, and then the shadow comes in. And this is light. This is probably it might be one of the quad tendons there where it starts to attach to the pelvis. And that is the model's privates right there. So we're going to go a little darker just to establish that. And now this quad, it's not a straight line. It curves in. So listen, I know I'm going like really slow here, but I love the edge of the body. Like I just love like paying attention to these like really complicated edges. And I think I would recommend that for you also. So now here's a little shadow shape in the light side in the front of the body. This is the pelvis starting to wrap around where the obliques attach. You don't want to go too dark. And then this is the gluteus medius that is killing me on my body. My side of my hip, this is the side of the model's hip, is so flippin' tight. Getting old sucks. That's what I can say. Yes, getting old sucks. Okay, any questions? Wow, no questions. You people are so quiet today. Okay, so yeah, if you have a question, ask. I'm here for you people. Now, okay, let's keep going. And I'm coming down. This would be the sacrospinalis muscle, that are the two towers on either side of your spine that keep your body erect so you're not falling over. So we just kind of drew that, and now I can say, okay, cool, this, and it comes in. So complicated edge, people, not a simple cartoony edge. See, the paper is pushing up. Do you see that? I hate that. I hate that. That's why if I'm going to do a drawing that's like 5 hours, doing it on illustration board is so much better for me personally. This is going to be like a 2-hour drawing. So yeah. Now, okay, but Matt, you said this was white charcoal. Hang in there, people. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Now, don't make the butt so perfectly round. I get it. We see those things on Instagram, but I'm going to throw some angles in there because angles are where it's at. Complicated edge is where it's at. Okay, I'm going to now go a little bit more with the shading. You don't need to shade on a diagonal. There's 14 million different ways to shade. I'm just kind of establishing my block in. And now I'm going to establish the block in another value darker. Now, it's a white charcoal tutorial. I haven't even thought about using the white charcoal yet because you must establish your shadow first, right? You've got to establish your shadow. And this technique's not going to work if you're working from photo reference that has no shadow. Now, I just, somebody was watching the live streams on YouTube, and they signed up for my one-time coaching, and they sent me a bunch of their portrait drawings, and I critiqued their portrait drawings. And most of my critique was talking about the necessity to draw from good photography. Like a lot of you out there in YouTube land, you might struggle drawing a portrait, you might struggle drawing a figure drawing. Ask yourself the question, Are there shadows and lights on the photo reference that I'm choosing to draw from? If there are not, stop what you're doing and go find a photo like this one that has good light and shadow. That is half of the battle for you to draw from good light and shadow. Do we draw in the classroom with quote unquote the fluorescence on, the LEDs, whatever the lighting situation? Yes. But then do I turn those lights off and then we draw with a spotlight on the model? Yes. So just be very conscious of the quality of the photography that you are drawing from. Now, okay. So how are we looking here, people? We're getting there. We're getting there. Wow, we've got 26 people watching. I really appreciate all of you visiting with me here today on YouTube. Thank you so much. So now let's get some interior things happening here. So I've got like a suggestion. This is where you got to use your lover's touch. Light pressure, people. Light pressure. This is a little wide for me. I could kick this to the left. We've got another rib. We've got another rib. And we've got another rib which is turning around. Turn it around. And then this is the separation of the external oblique from the rectus abdominis over here. So front of the body has the abs, the side has the obliques. I'm going to curve that. I don't want to put too much pencil in the light. I think what I also need to do is I need to put in a little bit more tone on this quad. So this would be more of like, oh, this angle's down. Interesting. I didn't get that. Yeah, this gal is built like a brick poop house. Very strong, powerful quads. And so this is the hamstring hanging down. I bet none of your art teachers have ever said that. So yeah, okay. She's a powerhouse, this model. Very strong gal. And I love anatomy, and I love drawing muscles. And I'm not a comic book artist who's like drawing like muscle comic book characters, but I just love anatomy, and it to me it's just fun. Yeah, absolutely. So now I said we were going to stop mid-thigh. Once we start going to the knee, then it's just not the right place to crop. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to roll in from the shoulder. Now let's talk about some lines that roll in, and then we'll get to our first go through with the white charcoal. I promise. Okie dokie. So deltoid rolls in. It's hard to see up there. I've got two versions of this photo. Oh, there's the light one. So I always work from two versions of the photo. I work from a lighter version so I can see the details in the shadow. And then I work from the naturally exposed one. Okay, so I'm trying, now I see the scapula a little bit more detailed out. And now this rolls into the body. This rolls in. Now the model's, oh, I see, that's much closer to the tricep. Should I be going that dark with that line? Maybe not. Rolls in, angles out, rolls in. I don't want to go too much with this. And then the small of the model's back. I'm trying to make it look a little bit more complicated. And I should establish the underarm. Okay, I think that's fine for our purposes here today. Now, let's start with the white charcoal. What the hell? Let me get another drink first. Hold on. So, okay. So this photo reference I got pre-COVID. I can't believe I even said that word. I got in maybe 2018, 2019. And so this one's an old one, and quite frankly, I don't remember where I got it. It's been so many years. I haven't used these photos in a long time. But I really recommend Graphit Studio because Phoenix had mentioned that. Those are the best photos right now because they're reasonably priced. I'm not saying this photo pack with this model was not reasonably priced, but the photographer, like this, I think was like a one-off. Like these photos are so good. And then I don't think they ever duplicated the quality of that photo session with this model. I could be wrong. Now, if that photographer is listening and you have more photos like this, please email me. Please contact me, and I will buy them from you. So sketching with the Prismacolor right now. Yes, now, remember what I said. Remember what I said. Let me get the drawing first. The sample drawing. You have to establish the shadow first before you can go with the light side. And there needs to be clarity between separating your lights and your darks. So the saying that painting teachers will say over and over and over again is you must keep your lights light and you must keep your shadows shadowy. Like there's no reason to bring that white charcoal into the shadow. Then what you create is you create a muddy drawing that is all grays and all mud. So you need to keep your line that separates light from the shadow, and you need to keep your lights light and your shadows shadowy. In case you haven't noticed, I was a painter for most of my life. So yeah, now, okay, wait a second. We missed a step. What is the step? Oh, wow, Troughs is out. Let's take a look at Troughs here for a second. Troughs is out, man. My God, sleeping. Oh, did we wake you, Troughs? I'm sorry. Gee whiz. Okay, go back to sleep. I'm sorry. You heard your name. No, there's no food here for you. Go back. Oh, there goes the tongue. Okay. Let's get back to the drawing. Just had to say hello to Troughs, but yeah, she's disturbed right now. So we're going to crop. There we go. Oh, let me show you some other things. This? I was going to draw that today. Yeah, I love that model to death. Really great model. And then I was going to be maybe drawing that one today. But then I'm like, you know what? It's not about drawing a portrait likeness. It's about the white charcoal. So I'm going to get all caught up in that. And this is just faster to teach this. So, okay. Time out. I got to get some tools here. What's next step? Yeah, I'm going to take this blending stump and I'm going to mosh that pencil into the paper. No, absolutely, I am not going to do that. I am going to take a softer, more pliable brush. I've got two sizes right here. And I'm just going to push the Prismacolor. This paper doesn't have a lot of tooth, but I am going to push the pencil into the paper. Again, I said today that we're drawing like a painter. It's okay. You can go over the lines. It doesn't need to be perfect. This is a great way now to start establishing. Look at what that does. So not blended with the brush, blended with the brush. It just made it so much darker. Do you see that? Okay. Questions, let me know. So I am pushing this, feathering it away, and drawing like a painter. Now, the beautiful thing of drawing with this brush first and not using a blending stump is if I made any mistakes, I could come in with my Mono Zero eraser and erase out this soft blended Prismacolor with this eraser, like in a heartbeat. Like it's so easy, and with the Col-erase, with the kneaded eraser, it's easier still. Okay, so yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna blend all of this right now. I'm being a lunatic. This is good. I don't like that leg. It needs to be a little bit more graceful. I kind of chopped it up too much. I see it's chopped up over there, but I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna make this a little bit more graceful, a little bit smoother. And I got to make sure that I don't have that hamstring go in too much. It's going to make that leg feel a little thin, and that's going to look weird. So let me just erase that. Okay, now white charcoal. So the white, okay, so 1 second, people, 1 second. Holy Moses. I got to stand up for a minute. 1 second, 1 second. My freaking hip is killing me. Oh my God, Jesus, getting old sucks. All right, I need a drink of water, and thank you for all 30 of you who are watching me draw this torso study. We're going to about get to the white charcoal. I just need to, I don't know what my problem is. Live stream equals like walking in the desert for me. I always get so thirsty. Okay, there's a question. My goodness gracious, we got a question, people. From Phoenix, if you make a mistake and mix the charcoal with the shadows, is it easily fixable? Yes, if you don't use the blend-in stump. Now, this is Phoenix specifically. This tutorial here today is specifically drawing with the Prismacolor Col-erase, which they do not sell separately anymore. Prismacolor, your company, you've made the most ridiculous decision. I should contact them, but this is the pencil. Now, if I'm working with like this, that's a whole nother story, graphite. I don't have an answer for that. I will say white charcoal and graphite do not mix well. Okay, so now when we look at this model, the lightest light is on the chest. And is this light over here on the leg as light as the chest? No, it is not. So we've established that our lightest light is on the breast. Our second lightest light is on the top of the rib cage. And the oblique is not that light. So what I'm going to do first here is I'm just going to get the feel of this. And I'm holding the pencil back here because I'm feeling a little timid. It's been a while since I've done this. So I'm going to just, now I'm drawing, let's see here, and this is very pointy also. So I'm not pressing down hard, everybody. Why am I not pressing down hard? I am not pressing down hard because it's been a long time since I've used the white charcoal, and I want to get a feel for it. And remember, when I do the white charcoal, everybody, I do it in layers. This is the first layer, and the first layer is very, very conservative. Let's just say that. So now let's get this other breast. It's very conservative. At least that's my philosophy. You don't need to agree with me. You can come on in and plow it in. Now, the drawing that I did yesterday, I did the Loomis head, and I just used charcoal for fun, and I just did those vertical charcoal strokes. So that I pressed down hard. But I am not doing that now. Now I am being very, very conservative with the application, quote unquote, the first go through. And so, like, I had a teacher when I was in college in the late 80s, as Stephen Assell. And I watched Stephen paint in class. And I was a clueless 19, 20-year-old. And he would not go in with the whitest whites at first. He would not go in with the darkest darks. He would first use a lot of like midtones and dark midtones, but he would be very conservative with everything. And that might be too dark over there on that rib cage. And so I still have that in my mind watching him paint. And I learned this when Stephen was painting a hand. And he was painting the hand, and he did all of it like in midtones first, and light midtones, and some dark midtones. And at the very ends, like he put in like the rich darks in between the fingers, and I'm like, oh my god, it just like popped. That is so cool. And yes, okay, so rib number 1, rib number 2, rib number 3, rib number 4. Okay. Be a little conservative. Maybe I've got too much dark over there with the navel. Okay, and let's put some light on the oblique. Now, when you do this, you can shade around the body part. That's kind of what I'm doing over here. So the bottom of the rib cage turns under over there, so you don't want to go too light over there. And then the oblique starts to turn facing the light source. Now, you've also, everybody on YouTube, you want to save and allow part of the paper to show through as well. And you want to use the value of the piece of paper also. So don't, like over here at the butt, you don't want to go too much with too much pressure, because this is now starting to turn away from the light source. I really shouldn't even be using it over here, but I'm going to have fun and just put that there. Okay, first go through. And now, how much of this leg do I really want to draw? Being a little bit more stylized with this part. Okay. I just want to have fun here with this. Let me use the mono 0. It's a little smaller area. Just got distracted looking outside. Okay. Okay, so now that's called our first go through with the charcoal pencil. And so now my next step is I'm going to very gingerly, one second. I'm going to very gingerly, with this very soft and pliable Bristol brush, push this into the paper. I'm scrubbing it into the paper. Do you hear that? Scrubbing it into the paper. I don't care if it's overlapping the Col-erase, like this and the Col-erase mesh well together. If it was graphite, that would be a disaster, for me at least. So I'm really just blending right now. Scrubbing the paper. And I'm going over the pencil a little bit as well. First go through. Let me just look at some of these comments. Raffaelli. I was once told to do circles. It is better doing straight lines. I'm a beginner. 1 second. One is not wrong and one is not right, Raffaelli. You have to do both. So I'm a big believer in if you watch the beginning of the video and the replay, I warm up with ovals. You can call these circles, whatever. And you desperately need to practice this with continuous line. And then you draw part of the circle and you rhythm down. But you also need to draw with straight lines. And there are no straight lines when you look at the human body, but you could use this technique called the angles to put angles on the edge of the model's body like that. And so it's both. It's not one or the other. It's both. Like, you need to be able to draw with straight lines to map things out and make a complicated edge using these macro angles. But ultimately, that's stiff, so you need to combine it with curvy lines. Does that make sense? Okay. So we've been at this now for an hour and 15 minutes, a lot of talking. I'm going to go through it again now with the Col-erase. Hang in there for a second. Yeah. So let me go to the darker photo. I'm going to now, okay. Going to go a little darker over here. And I want to use a circular pencil stroke where the light meets the dark. I just want to go like a little darker with that. So this is, I think other teachers call this the Terminator. I just make up my own words for all this stuff. For me, this is the dark halftone, and this is technically the line that separates the light side of the model's body from the shadow side of the model's body. I like to think of it that way. There's no, every teacher has their own terminology, and that's just fine. Okay, so we went a little darker there, and so now I can wrap some lines in. So bottom of the scapula. It's hard to see the information in the shadow. It's okay that the shadow stays a shape. It's just, it needs to be a shape. And technically I can go a little darker. Now let's talk about another phrase. You got it, Raffaele. Another phrase that I repeat over and over and over again to my students at the School of Visual Arts, as well as my website, Drawing Tutorials Online, is in order to have light, you must have dark. And so I'm going to just go a little bit darker now with the model's shadow. Now, again, I said earlier in the live stream, I like outlines. You don't need to outline as strongly as how I'm outlining. This technically curves this way. Yeah, I love outlines. And do they make the drawing look stylized? For sure. For sure. But I like that style. It's really cool for me personally. Now, let's work on this area. I didn't really draw the breast too accurately, so I'm going to curve this underplane. Don't go too dark here, people. This is called the accent, where the bottom of the breast, it's got to have a sharp edge there. Don't go too dark. That's the beginnings of that cast shadow. And this is the cast shadow on the rib cage. If you go too dark, it's going to look like a hole in the body. So you need to use a nice mid-tone over here, not too dark. I think I've kind of already gone too dark. But when I blend with the brush with the white charcoal, and we go over it again, that will kind of blend out a little bit, get a little bit lighter. I don't think I need to go much darker with some of these things. I'm just going to kind of transition a little bit into the light. So a little transition brush stroke over here, pencil stroke I meant to say. Bottom of the rib cage, almost one of the ribs, and then curving around. Now, do I want to put a background tone in? No, there's not enough time for me to do that, but that's an option for you at home. I don't know if I need to do this right now, but I'm going to do it. We have a transition in value over here, and a little bit of a rib. A little bit more of a transition in value. We're going to go back to the white charcoal in a second here, so hang in there. Front of the pelvis, underplane, side of the gluteus medius, curve around. Curving around that thigh. And some of the muscles on the scapula, I'm seeing value shifts. And so there's the infraspinatus, there's the supraspinatus. I think it's the teres major and teres minor. And so I'm trying to just show some like little value shifts on that scapula. Okay, so let's go and draw this leg over here a little bit more so with the shadow. Okay, let me just look at a question here. Jake, hey, Matt, I might have already asked this before, but what are the advantages of white charcoal over white pencil crayon or Conte? So the crayon for me isn't going to enable me to, when I think of crayon, I think of waxy. I'm not necessarily going to be able to blend with that, and I'm not necessarily going to be able to erase that. See, the cool thing about the white charcoal is that it erases out beautifully. And the white pastel, or Conte, I never had good luck with the Conte. Like, when I find a material that works for me, I tend to overuse it. And this Prismacolor, this General's white charcoal pencil, for me, is so flexible. You can erase it, you can blend it. It's really, really flexible. That's the advantage of the white charcoal over those other mediums. And I just don't have enough experience with those other mediums. So I understand I'm kind of giving you like a little bit of a limited answer. All right. Dagu, afternoon, Matt. Another banger drawing. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's blend this second layer of shading, pushing it into the light side. Now, when you use these brushes, you should have a certain set of brushes that you use with the charcoal. You should have a certain set of brushes that you use with graphite. You should have a certain set of brushes that you use with your colored pencils. So, like, if I have just one brush that I use for all those, and then let's say I was doing a colored pencil drawing, and then I use it over here, I'm going to freaking get blue pencil on this drawing, and then I'm going to screw it up. So, if you don't need to have all these different brushes, you can just kind of simply clean them when you're done using them. And then if you plan on switching from graphite to like a colored pencil or a colored pastel, I think it's important to do that, or else you're going to start getting weird results. Okay, we're going to go back to that white charcoal in a second. So the key with this, everybody, is, and so this type of study that we're doing here today involves a lot of patience. You've got to be extremely patient and do all of this initial blending. The more of this blending that I'm doing right now, the rounder the drawing is going to become. The less of this blending that you do, it's going to look more like a no-tan graphic design style piece. All right, let me just get a little swig of water here. And I think I need to stand up for a minute because I've been sitting now for like an hour and a half almost. And sitting is the new smoking. So I must have smoked like a pack of cigarettes sitting down for an hour and a half. I'll be just give me like 10, 20 seconds here. Hold on. Well, I had to get Truffs. Truffs, say hello, Truffs. Say hello, Truffs. Truffs is making these noises. Listen to this. Put your tongue in. Come on, stop sticking your tongue out at YouTube. That's not nice of you, Truffs. Say hello. Yeah, she still looks good for 11 plus years old. She's got a couple of like battle bruises on her face now. So yeah, Truffs, come on, give him a front. See, she's got a battle mark over on the other side from my other dog. They got into a fight. She's got something on her forehead now. She's getting old. She's getting old, right, Truffs? Yeah. Okay. So that was my little break, and let me go back to the drawing the crop. Cool. I'll be right back. Okay. So next, we're going to go a little bit more powerful now with the white charcoal. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, a little bit more powerful with the white charcoal. If I can find it. There it is. Okay. Okay, so now, what did we say earlier, everybody? That the lightest light is on the model's breast, okay? So I'm going to now start to do my best. It's starting to get cloudy out. It got so much darker in here. Now I'm going to start to press down a little bit harder and go up to the pectoralis muscle right there. And there's a highlight on the center of the breast. And there's a little light on the front of the breast there. And I'm going with the lay of the land, so my pencil strokes are going up. I'm not doing the diagonal pencil stroke thing. I'm kind of going with the direction of the way the breast is lying on the rib cage. I can go cross grain there. Now let's get the other side, the other breast. It's not as light, but I'm going to use my artistic license and just make it a little bit brighter. Okay, now we have some strokes, some folds of skin at the underarm over here. They need to be round. This needs to be round pencil strokes because this is a little bit more of like the lat muscle. Doesn't need to be as light as the breast. I want this to curve. Oh, I see that. I want to go over that and make it lighter. Good. And we're going to blend this again. So now the rib cage, really strong light under the breast. Strong light under the breast. I'm pressing down pretty hard right now. And we've got this rib over here. A good sharpener, yes. The ones that I use in the classroom are these. They're really cheap and they're really sharp. Just gotta sharpen them over a garbage can or over a paper towel because they don't have like the container where the shavings go in. But at home, I use, can this reach? This. They don't, yeah, you can look for one on eBay maybe. Like this, like the new, more politically correct sharpeners don't allow you to get such a point on the pencil, and this one does, and it's awesome. Okay, so let's keep going here. Got to have that light. In order to have light, you must have dark. We have the dark, which is the shadow of the breast. This is less pressure on the white charcoal now because the rib cage is turning towards the shadow. Maybe this is all a little bit too dark over here, but let's just keep putting some light down on these ribs. Excuse me. I swallowed the wrong way. My bad. So I'm just looking at these individual surface plane shifts over here. These are just ribs and some serratus anterior. I can go over some of this with the side of my pencil because the way that I did those shadows, this part of the rib cage, it's just way too dark. Let me get a little drink of water here. All right, CNN. CNN. CN. Who is CN? Thank you so much for that super chat. That was really, really super nice of you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Now, listen, CN 90 to be specific. What questions do you have that I could help you with? Okay, I'm here today on this live stream. Like, I love teaching drawing. It's like my most favorite thing to do. And I'm here today, and I appreciate that you did the super chat so very much. What questions do you have? It could relate to anything art-wise. It doesn't need to be about this particular drawing. Yeah, that would be so cool if you can ask questions, and I feel like I can help you more. So I'm kind of doing some light pressure here. And I don't know how exciting this is to watch right now on YouTube, but this is modeling. Yeah, no, I thank you so much. I let me click on the heart. Awesome. Awesome. Let's see. So ooh, I don't like those strokes. The pencil was a little bit too sharp for me right over there. So let me keep going. And let's do the bottom of the pelvis, which would be the top of the gluteus medius. So you could see, everybody now on YouTube, that this is a little tedious, but I enjoy this. Like, it's been a while since I've done a drawing like this, and this is... I've modeled things my whole entire life. I shared a bunch of my older paintings last week. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to be a one-hit wonder and just do the same things every week. But yeah, this is fun, and I like it. Now, I also like doing the short stuff too. You know, I like doing both, and I do both. You know, people are right now, the buzz is AI and all that jazz, and I get it, and I've got to do a little bit more learning with the AI, but I also fully understand that the people who watch me draw, yes, AI is good and you should learn it, but you're drawing this way because this is a lifestyle that you choose. You enjoy working with your hands. You want to get out from in front of a screen and just sit there and use this form of drawing as like a form of like meditation, because that's kind of like what it is. And this is very, very different than, say, learning how to create imagery with AI. I'm not against that. As a matter of fact, I want to learn some of it. But me learning about AI will never take away that my main skill set is always going to be working with my hands, and that working with my hands will always be a priority for me. And that's just like a decision that I've made. And like, once you have a skill with your hands, like, and you cultivate it and you continually practice it, like, nobody can take that away from you. And I think that's very, very cool. So I think now I need to blend again. Um, I'm just looking for my brush. I don't know where this shit goes. There it is, right in front of my face. Okay. Um, so I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive. I'm going to use this little brush. And I'm going to push again. And then we're going to go over this for a third time with the white charcoal. So you've got to build up like this glow. Now the chest, we want the chest to really glow because the light is hitting it. Use this brush, like move it in a direction that blends the charcoal around the body. And look, I'm kind of going over my outline that I drew with the Prismacolor. So that's lightening up that pencil. But I want there to be a dark outline. I just dig that. That's I love that. Oh, this should be smoother. So this brush is a little bit more stiff. And the others are a little bit more pliable. I got to be careful that I don't bring this brush too much into the shadow side. I'm going around, going around, going around the roundness of the breast. Okie dokie. Let me, I want to reestablish my edge. Yes, but before I do, I think I'm going to need a bathroom break soon. Raffaele, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you sticking with me. So I'm using this, I call this my big brush. Let's just say that. I don't want to get in trouble. Yeah, so I love, see what I'm doing here? I'm tapping. Kind of reminds me of like freaking Bob Ross. Back in the day, he would ruin his paintings. He would tap like this with that freaking phthalo blue shit that he used to use. And so what this is doing, tapping, again, I told you we were going to draw like a painter today. This is blending the pencil, the Prismacolor, into the light. And I'm trying now to turn the body from the shadow into the light. So again, you really have to enjoy this. Like some of you are like, oh my God, that seems so boring. Again, to each their own. Everyone's going to be like a little bit different. Now, okay, listen to me, people. I need to take like a 1 to 2 minute bathroom break. I'm going to leave this here on the screen so you can draw with me. And I will be right back, okay? I need to stand up, and I need to walk, and I need to go to the bathroom. I will be right back. I also need to change my glasses so I don't fall on the floor. Okay, we're back. Now, I think it's time to do some like comparison to see where we're at with the other drawings that I have showed you, and even for myself. Um, but I know what I need to do. I need to make the shadow darker, and I need to make the lights lighter. I need to vitalize my edge line because I like edge lines. Okay. Let's see now. Let's start to do some comparisons. What's the difference between what I'm working on right now and this? Well, this has more detail in the shadows, and this has a darker outline, and there's more pencil stroke direction in the light. Okay, cool. I think I like this does not have the dark, sharp outline. Like it's a little soft. So I think I need to really work on that. Like I want to do more of a detailed edge. Now, this pose has more detail in the shadows, and I probably was able to see more detail on the edge line as well. This one, not so much, but I could push it. Yes, so that's what I'm going to try to do. So let's tackle the edge line now. So let me just look at some of this. Drawing in tone paper looks much fun, especially when using the white pencil. Yeah, the white pencil is it's cool. It's definitely cool. So let me start again. Now, again, people, this what I'm doing is not for everybody. I understand that, and this may not be like your cup of tea, but I love. So this is establishing now my third value. So I want to go dark here because right now the drawing feels a little too muddy for me. And yes. So I want to, let me zoom, I'm going to zoom in on, on my iPad and see if I can see any other info on the model's body. I could see that parts of the body, like over here in the photo, are blurry. So she might have moved just like a little bit. And this photo of this model is a little bit more chiaroscuro, light and shade. And so there's not like a lot of details in the shadow like the other one that I showed you. Like there's way more detail in the shadow. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just going over my edge line. I'm making it darker. I'm going to roll into the body a little bit with some curved lines. I'm trying to show some muscle separations, but in essence, what this is doing is it's starting now to incorporate a little bit more of a third value, the dark. So all of your drawings should have like 3 values, a minimum. You know, that seems like a broad stroked sentence, but most people tend to get like a little muddy with their artwork where they're only using like 2 values. And like you've got to make sure that you have. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of information in the shadow, which kind of stinks. Now, I choose these photos. So I'm the one who created the problem, but I choose these photos because, you know, this is not a drawing that I'm going to be working on for like 6 hours. It's a drawing that we're working on for like maybe 2.5 hours here on a live stream. So I try to pick photos that are quick and easy for us to draw together. So I'm not copying this exactly on the edge. I'm using a little bit of my artistic license. And this is pretty freaking dark over here. So I want to go a little darker now on the inside. Now remember my philosophy that in order to have light, you must have shadow. I think I should zoom in just a touch. Yeah. So now over here on the small of the back. Okay, 1 second. I am so not comfortable. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, okay. My hip is just killing me today. I don't know what up. Okay, really, I'm going darker over here. And I'm trying to pay close attention to the line that separates light from the dark. Now, there's some folds of skin over here. I'm going to ignore that, and I'm just going to make this like a little bit of a smoother edge. And you do not need to copy every single thing that you see in the photo. You can, but you don't have to. Now, do I loop this way or the other way? I think I'm going to loop this way and then feather away. Maybe I zoomed in too much. But yeah, okay. Now, I'm going to come back to the interior. Any questions, people? That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you all. We've got 21 people watching. I appreciate that. And listen, if you're not subscribed, let me be like the YouTube, how the YouTube people are. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you like what I'm teaching you here today, consider subscribing. If you like what I'm teaching you here today, maybe you want to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up, maybe. If you like what I am teaching you here today, perhaps you want to click on the bell so you get notified when I go live again. I'm going to try to go to live a little bit more in August. I'm supposed to get called for jury duty. Oh my God. It's not cool. So I don't know how that's going to work. But I want to try to go live at least 2 days a week in August before I have to go back and be a college teacher in September 3rd to be exact. I actually can't wait to go back. I love teaching there at the School of Visual Arts. So yeah, if you want to help me out in that regard, subscribing to the channel, giving the video a thumbs up, and or clicking on the bell so you get notified when I do go live, that'd be helpful. So I'm just trying to add a little bit more detail here. I don't want to go too heavy in this shadow. I kind of want the shadow to glow a little bit. Now, if I was using like the tan toned paper, that I think is better than the gray. Don't get me wrong, I love the gray, but the tone tan is better because when you let the tone tan color show through, it kind of makes it feel like the shadows are glowing a little bit. The gray could be a little bit more of like a dead color, no doubt, but the tone tan is not a dead color. And I started too late today. I didn't look for the tone tan. I should have done that. I know I have a pad somewhere. So I'm just starting to turn the gluteus medius a little bit. I don't want to go too heavy with the shadow. I'm going to screw it up and I'm going to make it look too dark. Okay, now I am gonna outline pretty hardcore. I like outlines. Matt, how many times are you gonna tell us that? I like outlines. Sorry. Yeah, it's stylized. I'm sorry, but I love it. So don't go too dark here. Oh, my head's getting in that because I'm starting to get like a little bit more detail. I do want to get closer to this. How long have we been doing this? 1 hour and 50 minutes. Jake, you should ask if they'll let you be the courtroom. Oh my God. Well, I didn't even think of that. I am not looking forward to the jury duty thing. I am just not. I went 7 years ago, and I got selected. Of course, I got selected, right? So, and then the lawyers are telling us about the case and saying all this stuff and asking us questions. And the case was about these family who owned like a business. I think it was a deli or something like that. And they got into like a big fight, and then they were fighting over ownership. And I'm like, wait a second. I know the family name. Like I think I went to high school with these people. And he's like, no, you didn't. It can't be the same person. It's a coincidence. So they kept talking like a little bit more, and I'm like, no. Like he's like, okay, let's go outside. Let's talk. And so the lawyer takes me out, and I'm like, dude, I think I know this family, and I went to high school with them. Like it's a huge family. And he's like, okay, you're done. I can't take this chance. So let me sign your paper, and you don't have to come back for like another 7 years. And I'm like, yes. And it was the truth. Like I honestly, I knew the family from high school. It was like a massive family, and they owned like, I knew they were like in the food business. So yeah, so maybe something like that will happen for me again, and I won't have to stay. Okay, so just doing some value shifts down over here, and let me resharpen the pencil. Okay, I think about going to some museums to draw statues. What can I do to prepare? Um, okay, good question. So the thing with drawing at a museum that I think is the numero uno thing is comfort. So drawing at a museum could be extremely uncomfortable. You have people can tend to be a little obnoxious. They'll come and they'll hover right over you, and like they'll invade your personal space. So like I'm a big believer in like, okay, let's talk. Let me like I like a spiral bound pad at the museum because I can flip it over and hold it like this and draw like this. I don't like a sketchbook situation because like it doesn't have the spiral bound thing. So to avoid all of that, what I do is I take out like 10 pages out of my pad, and I put those pages on foam board, and I cut the foam board to fit the paper. And the foam board is extremely light. So I'll show you. One second. Okay. Let me just do it here. So here's my foam board. Let's say my foam board is 12 by 15 inches. And then I take a bunch of sheets of paper and I tape them to that. And I'll tape like 10 pieces there, and I'll use blue tape. And then I take another piece of foam board, and you don't have to use tape. You can use clips. And then I take another piece of foam board that's 12 by 15 inches. Foam board is that light foam. People use it to make models. And then I close it in on that, and it makes like a book. And you can use just like a clip that kind of looks like this. It's black, and then it has this thing that kind of goes up like that. Or you can use a different type of clip that is like that, and it's flat over here, and then it kind of goes up like that with the hole. So that's what I do when I go to a museum. I do not want to fuss with like a pad that is like overly like flexible like this. Like this one's not that bad, but some pads are so freaking flexible. So like you're drawing and the paper is bending, and you're like, so the foam board is what's going to make it stiff. And so I make like a foam board book. And you can buy 11 by 14 foam board from like an office supply store. Yeah, and so you don't have to cut it. Like some people don't like to cut the foam board because they don't have a knife, and then it starts to get into buying too many things, and I get it. It gets to be a pain in the butt, but that's to me how to prepare for the museum. And another thing that I say to all, oh, this is not right. I say to all of my students, when I've had students drawing at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and somebody, like, they'd have their bag next to them and they're looking at the statue, and then when they were drawing with their focus, somebody reached into their bag and stole some stuff. So, you know, when I say to the students, I'm like, listen, the museum is a beautiful place. It's my most favorite place on the planet, next to like the Grand Canyon. So yes, but we're in the big city and shit happens in the big city. So just be aware of your surroundings when you are really focused on drawing the statues. So that is my very, very practical advice. And just understand that there will be like kids that gather around you and start to watch you draw, and there'll be onlookers. And so you just kind of have to semi ignore. And what some people do is they'll put in earbuds, so like they just pretend that they can't hear any of the questions, especially if you just are going there and you don't want to deal with people. It doesn't bother me. I've been there so many times, like I'm used to it. I hope that helped. Just going a little darker. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. It's coming along slowly, a little bit slower than I thought, but it's coming along. Let's just say that. So let's go with the dark halftone on the breast. Not too dark. Curve it around. Cast shadow. And I'm going to go over my edge line one more time. I don't care that it's a hard edge line. I know I'll get some comments that the edge line, could you get rid of that? It's cartoony, but I like it. All the ins and outs. In and then out. Just keep looking at the photo. Look more at the photo than you look at your drawing. If you look too much at your drawing, then what you're in essence doing is you're drawing out of your imagination. I can do this all day. Like, this is fun for me. Don't get me wrong. I love the short ones. I love portrait drawing. I love all that other stuff, but this is really what I think I'm like best at, is drawing the human body. And this is a good photo. I've changed my thoughts on photos that I choose. I now have changed, and I really like to work from photos where I can see a little bit more information in the shadows, which basically means there's two light sources. Now, and in the past, I was never into that. I always like, it's got to be one light source. It's got to be form light. But this is one light source, and I'm not seeing as much information in the shadow as I would like to. So it's good and it's bad. It's good for like a live stream class, but it's bad because if I wanted to push this a little bit more, there's not a lot of information in the shadows as much as I would like to see. Other photos that I've worked from, I can see so much more information in the shadow shape. Convex line. Not too much. I'm going to resharpen again. You got it. Demuro. This is a little blurry on the photo. I would have liked to have seen what the heck is going on over here. It's still a great photo. I shouldn't be bitching so much. So the quality of your drawings has a lot to do with the quality of your photo reference. no doubt. I'm going darker with my outline just because I want the drawing to pop a little bit more. There should not be a dark line over here on the bottom of the breast, but stylistically, I need it to pop more because I'm not using a background tone. If I had a background tone, that would be different, but I don't want to waste time on this live stream class shading the background. I'm going to go just a little bit darker, but background tone will give you more atmosphere. And I'm going to go back to the white charcoal pencil. So what's a key takeaway from today's class? That when you work with a white charcoal and a dark pencil, most of the work is truly done with the dark pencil. And so that makes it maybe not that exciting. I just want to use the brush a little bit. Curve the brush around the body. Got a little too much reflected light on the scapula, but it's all good. Questions. What questions? Okay, here's a question. What pencil hardness are you using for your darks? Okay, this is a question that I get every live stream, and every live stream I say the same answer, but I appreciate your question, and I'm going to answer it. Let me get my regular pencils. Okay, so these are traditional graphite pencils that I never use. So they come with 3B, 4B, 5B, HB, the B. I'll never draw with an H pencil. But the idea is that, hold on. That in the shadows, your darkest darks, maybe you're going to go with like a 5B. And then in the light, you're going to use an HB. I've never done that. Maybe I did that like when I was in college. But for me, I don't like to use different graphites. For me, I'm using a colored pencil, and I get those differences with my touch. So I could get a dark with this colored pencil, and then I can get a light with the colored pencil. It doesn't need to be 7B and HB. It's my hand. And so, yes. So I'm not saying to use the different pencils. I'm not saying it's bad. It just doesn't work for me. Like I like to use, I have certain pencils that I use for like a studio drawing like this. And then I have certain pencils that I like to use for life drawing with the model on newsprint. And yeah, and then I'd have like a certain pencil that I use for doing demonstrations in class. Like in class, Mike Matisse turned me on to the Lyra. He visited my class and taught my students. And so I never thought in a million years I would use this, but this is really great for doing quick 1 minute, 2 minute gesture drawings. And doing that when you have 20, 18-year-olds looking over your shoulder saying, "Oh, you're so boring, Matt. Could you work faster for us?" So you do have to be fast when you're doing demonstrations for 18-year-old students, because they're awesome. They're very talented, but they can be also a little bit impatient. So yeah, that's why I like that Lyra pencil for demonstration. So I usually use certain pencils for certain purposes, no doubt about it. But you should experiment. And if you like using the different hardnesses with the graphite, don't listen to me. Use them. Like if that's what you enjoy doing. Like a lot of this has to also do with like enjoyment, right? So you have to do what you like. Like this is what I like. I like using the Col-erase pencil with the white charcoal, but for you it could be like, oh God, no way. That just takes like freaking forever. Like I'm so bored watching you and this is not like what I'm into. So half of learning and getting better as an artist is enjoying what you're doing. If you don't enjoy it, what's the point, right? Okay, we've been at this for 2 hours and 6 minutes. I feel like I'm just getting warmed up. Um, okay, I'm going to try to cake on the pencil a little bit more. White pencil, that is. My stomach is growling. I did not eat breakfast. I should have done that. I was a fool. Okay. It's going to be a big lunch. And then I'm going to crash. A breast needs to be rounder and softer. I didn't capture that. CN90, what was your question? The second question that was redacted. Because I want to hear your opinion on like the different graphites. I think that'd be kind of cool to explore that like a little bit further. Again, like I'm not dissing that. I think it's good, but ultimately, find what works best for you. But you always want your touch to be the main thing that separates you from other artists, like your touch with how you use pencil, your touch with how you use paint. This is the costal margin. I'm going to go a little heavier with that. I'm not liking some of this over here. I need to too little too aggressive with those two. Very cool. Thanks for answering my question. I'll have to try colored pencils. Yeah, so you could also do what I said with one graphite. So like I have a live stream that I did a couple weeks ago with this with this mechanical pencil, and I only used one graphite. Um, and so I'm using the same philosophy as what I'm doing with it. Doesn't You don't need to use a colored pencil. It could be that you're just going to use a HB, or you're just going to use two pencils like 2B and HB, and so you find the sweet spot for you, and that's what's most important. Okay, I'm not digging what I just did there. I need to blend it out and go over it again. That side of the navel is lighter. Don't want to go too light over there because that should be a turning plane. So this oblique should be lighter than that. So a lot of this is the pressure of your hand on the paper. Just going over the Prismacolor, that seems to be working well. This is a muscle called tensor fasciae latae. It's the funniest name. It sounds like an ice cream sundae. Tensor fasciae latae. And yeah, so it's a cylinder right there. I should not be going too light with this because it's not as light as the breast, but I'm using some artistic license because I'm going a little bit lighter with that so that leg comes in front of the other leg. So you don't need to follow the photo reference so strictly, but I don't want to deviate from it too much either. So just like the navel side, this side should be a little lighter. Not too light, it's turning under. And I'm going to go pretty light with this leg. Understood. So this is a way to use the pencil where you're not rendering. It's just more linear, and it's just more immediate. And yeah, so it doesn't need to be like what I'm doing here, where I'm modeling for hours. And I do most of the drawings that I do are short gesture drawings. Especially in the class, because it's the animation department, and I don't teach this in class ever, because it's just not needed. I do also teach a backgrounds class, which is a perspective class combined with backgrounds. 1 second. And so in that particular class, I teach the students how to create atmosphere, foreground, background, and all that jazz. So it's modeling to a certain extent, but you could model in more of a stylized sort of way, if that makes sense. I'm just caking on the white right now. Uh, and okay, what else can I do to this drawing? I guess let me just kind of keep doing what I'm doing, and we'll see when I'm ready to call it quits. Any questions? This needs to, it's a little dark, all of this. That's why I don't like it. Okay. I'm going to go over the Prismacolor. What I also like about this pencil is it covers the Prismacolor. It does not cover graphite. And so that's another plus for me with this paper pencil combination. Oh boy, now Truffles is snoring. Oh God. Okay. I hate when she snores. It's just, it goes right through me. Um, yeah, I'm not digging the breast. I need to make it look and feel rounder. And I should not be making that so flippin' dark, Matt. Okay. I got to move on from that because it's going to drive me a little cuckoo. Questions, anybody? Let me know. Doesn't need to be about this drawing. So I want to keep this part of the rib cage pretty light, so I'm going over some of those ribs. Okay, let me just push this a little bit more. We've been at this for like 2 hours and 18 minutes. And note to self, eat food before a live stream. This is starting to look like a straight line, which I do not like. So I'm going to go over that to knock it down a little bit. A little lighter over here. I'm going a little too heavy with this. Yeah, lighter over here. And let's put some light over here also. Okay, I'm going to blend again. And before I do, I'm going to get a little drink of water. How are we doing out there? Is this still interesting you? Do you still have an appetite for what I'm doing here on the screen, or should we call it quits? Those of you who are still with me. I mean, I could keep pushing this thing for like ever. So you can see as I'm doing this, isn't this just kind of feeling like painting? Absolutely it is. So notice I'm keeping my lights light and I'm keeping my shadows shadowy. And I am not using the white charcoal in the shadow side of the body. Yeah, somewhere in between painting and meditation. That's what this is. So, again, for those of you out there watching me, I appreciate you watching. You need to figure out the why of why you're creating the artwork that you're creating. Um, yes, and so with this type of drawing, for me, I just love the human body. I love realism. I love anatomy. And so this kind of fits all of my likes. I like doing render drawings. I like studying human anatomy. I like just having this take me out of my social media, Instagram doom scrolling. And so now this allows my brain to rewire itself back to focus. So there's like a lot of reasons why I'm liking doing this longer drawing right now. So you need to figure out what works best for you. Now, for some of my students at SVA in the animation department, they would never watch me on this live stream because this is not their thing. Like they would hate this. They would hate this. But I could switch gears and do like 21-minute poses, and that would kind of be fun too. So for me, I like the blend-in stump today. The blend-in stump isn't going to work for me. It's too, what's the word that I'm looking for? Intrusive. Like it's just going to be overly powerful. And what I'm trying to do here is be softer. So the brushes are softer for me today. And so I like that better. Now I've like, let me get a drawing for you so I can get up here. Let me get a landscape. 1 second, 1 second. So this is a landscape that I did for my class, drawingtutorialsonline.com. It was a 1-hour class, and I used the blend-in stump here. And the reason why I use the blend-in stump, and I think this is graphite. Yes, because I needed to draw really super duper fast. I needed to be more aggressive, and I needed to get like a solid dark. So the idea behind like this landscape sketch was the value setup and how to set the values up. And so with this, I'm using the white charcoal in a different way. I am not modeling at all. So this is more appropriate for the blend-in stump, whereas I'll show you another figure drawing with the white charcoal. So this now is way more subtle. So I'm trying to get all of the subtleties with the abs, and I want it to be softer, but yet I want it to have like a nice outline. That's just my style. So I'm not going to use the blend-in stump for that. It's just too heavy. Absolutely way too heavy. So what's the difference? Why do I like this drawing better than the drawing that I'm working on here today for you on YouTube? It's because of all these convex lines that are rolling into the body, and what those lines are doing is they're creating volume, whereas the drawing that I'm working on today doesn't have as much of those lines. As a matter of fact, I'm barely seeing any of them. So yeah, it's the nature of the beast of the photo. So I maybe I can push a couple. So maybe I'm going to go darker with this again. So I'm going to go darker. I'm going to push this convex here at the deltoid. And maybe I'll push that convex, push the convex at the scapula. I should have a little bit of a turning plane on the edge of that arm to make it turn around. Now, I'm not turning it into anything because I have no background tone. So take that for what it's worth. Now, this line is looking a little too straight for me, so I'm going to try to bow it out and curve it in better. I'll curve in a little bit over there. Better. I have some pencil strokes curve around. Any questions from y'all out in YouTube land, let me know. Now, listen, let me just give like a little commercial here for my website. I have a website called drawingtutorialsonline.com for those of you who don't know. If you're interested in full courses and not just like one-off videos on YouTube, courses that come with photo reference, and then the other huge thing with signing up for my website is that you could upload your artwork to my critique gallery, and I could critique your artwork one piece a week every Monday. So that's an offer to y'all. Maybe you can look in some of the links in the about right underneath the video where it says more. I've got some links there. If you're like, no, I'm not signing up to another website, I'm done with that. Well, I also offer up one-to-one coaching. And if you're interested in having a qualified teacher who's been teaching college since 1997, critique your artwork, I know what to look at quickly, and I can assess your work very fast. And I coach people who want to learn more about portrait drawing. I coach people who want to learn more about how to do composition for their backgrounds. I'm coaching someone right now who is just focused in on doing better figure drawings. So the difference between what I'm doing right now is teaching you like this very slow method of rendering versus, say, having another set of eyes on your artwork. That's completely different. So I'll throw that out there to you. Hey, Constantinius. Awesome. So let me move this piece of paper in a little bit more. So yeah, I offer the coaching and then the website. And I also, on the website every week, we have like a live Zoom class. What's different about the Zoom class besides what I'm doing here on YouTube? Well, the difference is that we talk. Right now, this is chat. And with Zoom, we could talk together. And I could literally look at your artwork like in real time and comment on it. So that's kind of how my Zoom class works. Like I have a topic of the week. Yesterday's class was the Loomis head. And so we all drew like a bunch of Loomis heads together. And then at the second hour, we have a Q&A. And everybody shows me their artwork and they ask me questions and I look at it. So that's a little bit different than a live stream here on YouTube because you don't have the ability to show me your artwork and I can't help you with your artwork doing a live stream. So that's pretty much the main difference. I'm being very stylized right now with the outline because I just want the drawing to pop like a little bit more. And I'm going over the outline again to try to make it look and feel a little bit more complicated. Yes. Questions? I feel like I'm teaching like my pre-college class because I'd say questions and they'd all just like stare at me. Too funny. Oh my God. Like my morning class was just freaking amazing. Yeah, a couple students in there, like I shouldn't say a couple, all of them were so good. They were so good, the morning group. And they were really focused in. I'm going to say they were focused in because they were tired in the morning, and in the afternoon, students tend to be like a little bit more rambunctious. So yeah, but it was a really good group. What else can I do to this, people? Um, I should not be doing this pencil right now on the top of this breast. I'm just trying to resolve it a little bit more. And I'm using artistic license. Okay, here's a question from John Doe. Hi, John Doe. I know I know in your classes you have students do a lot of value breakdowns and exercises when they're trying to simplify tones. How do you go from those to a finish like this? Okay, so let me get my value scale. And I'm not going to be able to show you all of the values because I'm zoomed in too much. So I'll use this one that's all beat up. Okay, timeout. So this is one value scale. I'm not saying it's the best one, but I'm saying that when you do a compositional study, say of a background or a still life or the figure, the most important thing is that you do it in three values, that you see where is there a dark, where is there a midtone, and where is there a light. Now, dark does not need to be black, and white does not need to be white. This could be your dark, value number 2. So dark, midtone, light. It could be that. So this is how we do studies. Now, when you do a piece like this, you still need to understand that I need to keep my shadows shadowy and I need to keep my lights light. So if I see like a little rib over here, I'm not going to do it value number 2. So in essence, what you are doing when you go to a finish like this, which is different than a compositional study, is you're using all of the values, but you're still trying to keep the lights light and the shadows shadowy. And, you know, this photo is pretty straightforward because it is very chiaroscuro. It is pretty light and shade. Like other drawings that I've showed you, like are not, like they're a little bit more secondary light source. And this is my other grayscale. This has all of the values. And this is what I use to learn how to paint with. So that's the main difference, is that you're just doing a value study in 3 values to just keep it simple in the beginning. I hope that helped. And this is just more modeling. You're modeling ovals and cylinders. No, I didn't talk about that. So it's all good. That's a good question. So basically, when I look at the shoulder here, the lat, what is this? That is basically a cylinder that's going like that, and that's the line that separates the light from the dark. And this is my dark, and that's my light. And so now those are 2 values. My third value is the dark outline, right? So now I'm starting to add all of the values to really make it turn. Does that make sense? Okay. I think I've been at it for 2 hours and 35 minutes. I say I'm going to work on this for just a little bit longer, and then I'm going to call it a day. What could I do? I'm going to go darker with my line. A little thicker. A little less straight in some areas. If I could take a break, trust me, I would come back and keep drawing for those of you who are interested. Because I get a little bored sometimes drawing by myself. Like I like teaching more. I used to like drawing more in silence, and so you know, you change as you get older. No, I never spray any fixative. Uh, because it's adding another element of potential surprise into the mix. Surprise that you spray the drawing with fixative and then the can is a bad can of fixative and then you just screwed up like what you worked on for 5 hours. I've had very mixed results with, let's say, spray gloss for my oil paintings back in the day, and I've had nightmares with it. And also, what you're doing with the fixative is you are adding another layer of toxicity into your life. And so it's really toxic to breathe that stuff in. It's so bad. So I don't want to deal with that. That's horrendous what I just did right there. I got to get rid of that round dark line. So these drawings, no one handles them but me. So when they're done, what's going to happen with them? Nothing. Like maybe I should sell this or give it away, but it's just either going to go into a folder or a flat file or be taped onto my wall. And it's never going to smudge. I kind of want to make this more like a chipped statue. It's never going to smudge. Like I'm always going to handle it with care. So that's why there's no need really for fixative, if that makes sense. I don't know how I feel about what I just did there. It's a little sharp. I like how the legs are fading away like a little bit better. I could lighten that a little bit. And that, yeah, this erases beautifully. I know, my outline's really dark, but I don't care. Sorry for the head in the camera. I'm just trying to get closer as I'm. See, that's what needs to happen. I basically need to get closer to this drawing. I'm kind of far away. Now, you could be like, well, he's going over the line again, the outline again. Yeah, this is the process of building up. And you cannot make a soft drawing that is atmospheric unless you go through it multiple times. And that's kind of what I'm showing you here today in this live stream is that I keep starting over and I keep blending with the brush and then I go over it again. And that is how I'm able to create this softer environment in the piece. I shouldn't go too dark with this. It's going to look like a keyhole. I'm just trying to curve it more. Okay, Constantinius. I have a can of fixative. It puts a glossy sheen on top of the paper that reflects light off the pencil layers. Yeah, that's another issue that I always had. Being a book illustrator, you know, at the end of you finishing the book cover, they need to photograph it for the cover. And if you use any sprays, it does make it very shiny, and then it's very difficult for them to photograph it. And so I've always just stayed away from any of those things. And so I've got John Doe. I literally have thousands of drawings in my house, and I all the drawings that I did for sketches for illustration jobs, like in the '90s, they were not that good. I also have a lot of drawings that are not that good. Trust me. I had to unload some of those drawings because I just don't have anywhere to put them anymore. And if I could turn my camera around, which I don't want to do, and you look at that wall, I literally have drawings all over the wall. Like I don't know what to do with these anymore. Like I've got so many freaking pieces of art. It's crazy. So I think what I'm going to do before the end of the summer is I've tried to sell these drawings before, but I had them on my website, but there were no takers, and I'm like, let me just take down that page, and I might do that again. I might just put up a page where if anyone wants to buy one of these, they could, and I think it would. These are small drawings. How big is this? So they wouldn't cost a lot to ship. This sucker is tiny, people. So this is a 5.5-inch tall drawing. Yeah, tiny. So this could go in an 8x10 frame with a mat. It would be beautiful. I just, I'm really not joking when I say that I have thousands of drawings, not to mention the paintings. I have so many full 18x24 drawing pads that I do not have time to go through those drawing pads to edit them and find all the crap demos that I've done and get rid of them and save the good drawings. That just takes so much time that I don't have time to do that. Yeah, I should do that, Constantinius. Yeah, I mean, my students, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the students that I teach. Wow, we've gone through this pencil here. It was much longer. The students that I teach at the School of Visual Arts, this is not their thing. Their thing is keyframe animation, quick gesture poses, and backgrounds. Those are the students that I teach. And so this is not something that they're interested in per se. Maybe one or two are, and they're just like a little confused. Should they be an illustrator? Should they be an animator? And they like to do both. And so there's a bunch of students like that. Like they're kind of a little bit in between, and they're confused. And I say, don't be confused. Do both. Like on your website, you can have like an illustration page, and then you can have a page on your website that shows and demonstrates how you're really good at doing character design. So yeah. So like there's somebody that I show who does illustrations for books, and they do character design, and they're a true professional, and they earn a pretty good living. So yes, you can do both. You can't do both in school because school has to put you into a department, the illustration department, the animation department, and they need to be organized, and I get that. I understand that. But you, the individual, could do more than one discipline, no doubt about it. And that it's actually better when you do that because you are going to be more fulfilled if you do more than one thing, because if you get bored of one thing, you can switch to the other. So if you get bored of like doing backgrounds for animation film, or there's no jobs right now, well then maybe you're going to do your dog portrait thing, and you're going to do that, and you like to render the dog portrait. So that's the advice, like the business advice that I give to a lot of my students. Okay, let me just pause here for a second and look at this question. How do you break your students out of the horrific intermediate skill plateau where their work is very good but not at that level that gets them a job yet? What's the final push? Okay, so all I can tell you is my experience, and my experience was my final push was when I graduated from college. So when I was in college, I wasn't that serious in first year. I wasn't that serious in second year. I had a girlfriend. Wasn't that serious in third year. And then girlfriend went to college, broke my heart, and then fourth year of college, time to get serious. And so that was when I got serious and I started to really pay attention to what I was doing. But to answer your question more exactly, the final push was when I graduated from college in 1990. I would say in between 1990 and 1991 was the year that I learned the most building my portfolio out of college, working on my own, studying illustrators, taking everything seriously. I did one painting every 2 weeks because I had to do sketches and photography. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but so that's 2 a month. That was 24 paintings in 1 year. And I would say that output of work for me is what was the final push. I never, ever did that amount of work when I was in college. And not only did I do it very, very disciplined, where I was paying very close attention to what I was doing and I was comparing myself diligently to people who were out in the real world getting illustration jobs. I wasn't comparing myself to students in class. So I would say that I learned more after I graduated from college working on my portfolio than I ever did while I was in school. And the reason for that is because when you're in school, at least my experience was, I wanted to enjoy the experience of being a student in school with my friends, and then when I graduated, it was do or die time. And I'm like, shit, this is the only thing I really know how to do. So I had the philosophy of burning my boats, and I hope that makes sense to you. This is almost done for this live stream. Yeah, John, this is the reason why I'm here, brother. I'm only going to be here for a couple more minutes, so I appreciate your questions a lot. It's been a quiet live stream, so I really appreciate you all watching. Now, if I go too dark with this line, it's going to separate the torso from that leg. So got to be careful with that. But I do like it darker. I don't know. I just love line. Okay. Let's just hit it one more time with the white charcoal. A couple highlights. This was really fun for me, at least. I hope you learned something from watching me. Does anybody have any last questions? Because I think I need to stop. I've been sitting here for way too long. I definitely need to get my ass up. Oh my God. I could keep working on this for like another hour minimum. I could push it for another hour and a half. Yeah, but I definitely need to stop soon, the live stream. So you, any last questions, just please let me know. And please check out some of the things that I have to offer on my website. The coaching, maybe sign up for a month to the DTO and post your work in my critique gallery. Every Monday, you have the opportunity to do that. You can post your work there, post your photo reference, and then I'm going to film a video critiquing your artwork. You don't have to go to class. You just get the video on Monday night, and you can download the video, and you can watch it, and then you can post again the following week on my website, and then you can join my class on Tuesday. My Zoom class, and then we can talk on my Zoom class. So it's a great way for you to improve quickly. Okay, John, there's an instructor I know who says that from his experience, he can look at a student's portfolio and immediately tell whether they enjoy drawing or not. Can you tell in your own students? Absolutely. Absolutely. There are some students that they're in college, they're away from home for the first time. They don't necessarily have access to everything they have at home, Netflix, Prime, all these different things. And so they're trapped in like their dorm room situation. And maybe they're like a little homesick and they're trapped in their dorm room situation. And what they do is work constantly. And those who enjoy what they're doing, it's fun for them. And you can see it. And then there are other people you can see they're not enjoying themselves at all. They haven't found their flavor yet, so to speak. Like they're still trying to discover what they like. And that's a legitimate thing. Like even though you're in college and it's first year of college and you're in the animation department and you're making a film, doesn't mean that you're having fun. It it could be that like you're young, you're 18 years old, you're second guessing yourself, like holy shit, these other students kick my ass. Why do I suck? How come they're so much better than me? I should have done this when I was in high school. So there's a lot of that with the younger students, and it's the ones who just keep working and persevere and find the subject matter that they enjoy that eventually start to have fun. Um, yeah. For me, I always just wanted to paint and draw realistically. That was the fun for me. And so that I always was into this. There were times like when I would be out of it because I'd be distracted with fun stuff. And there have been times in my adult life where I hated being an illustrator. It was very boring for a little while. I kept doing the same books over and over and over again. So you like it's very important to draw the subject matter that you really, really like. If you don't find that, it's going to be a struggle. No doubt. Um, okay, almost done here. Oh God, there's so much more that I can do on this piece. I just did a couple strokes over here that I really liked. I like this going around the TFL muscle. I'm going to go a little lighter on the butt, even though my gut tells me not to. It's a sharper edge there. I appreciate that, CN90. I keep wanting to say CNN. I apologize for that. CN90. That's a cool handle right there. I thank you for watching. I know it's not easy for you to watch me do this, but yeah, something about the breast I'm not loving. I don't know what the hell I don't like about it, but I just don't like it. I need to do more of these for myself because I think I'm a little out of practice because the other ones, like, I just like this so much better. I do think that I like the pose better. I like the light and shade better. I like everything better about this one. Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'll just work on this a little bit later, perhaps in the day, and come back to it with later with a fresh set of eyes, maybe. Maybe that's what I need to do. Okay. I think this sucker is done. It's almost 3 hours. I think maybe I should do this for 3 freaking hours. I've got 6 minutes to 3 hours. What do you think? Any last questions? I'm going to say we have 5.5 minutes left in this live stream. Oh my God, I got to get up. Any last questions for me before we end this sucker? I want it to be a 3-hour live stream, and that's 5 minutes from now. Yes. No doubt. We're going to go to an even number. I'm going a little lighter over here on the thigh. I want that lighter against the dark. I think that looks so cool. Yeah, that sounds like a nice round number. Absolutely. I'm just trying to concentrate a little bit more under the breast to really make the breast pop using the white over here. That's better. Okay. Okay, can you tell me something about how to get the rib cage nice and round? So, great question. Let me get a scrap piece of paper here. Oh boy, I got no more scrap paper. Gee whiz. Okay, let's use this. So, rib cage from this view looks like this. That's the costal margin. We're not seeing the other side of the rib cage, but I'm just going to put it in. And yes, so you must, this is what makes it round. You must have your strokes, your rendering strokes, go with the direction of the ribs. So the ribs are going to kind of wrap around, wrap around, wrap around. And some of the light and shade is going around a rib, around a rib. And then, yes, when you shade, you can block in with a straight up and down pencil stroke direction. But if you just keep it there with a straight up and down pencil stroke direction, it's going to be flat. So what you need to do is your pencil stroke direction needs to go around the rib cage. All of this needs to go around. And ultimately, I'm not seeing it on this photo, but ultimately right over here is where you roll into the bottom of that rib cage. And this is the bottom of the torso, right? So now what we have here is we have another oval on top of that oval. So that's why on this pose, this is light, and then it's starting to turn under a little bit over there. So it's a combination of like rolling lines in, shading. Like I have some lines. I don't think you can see this on YouTube. I'll take a picture of it. My camera's not the best here, but I have some lines that are going around. My shading lines are going around like that. And so that's what's going to make it look like a little bit rounder. Now, what I'm not seeing, which sucks, is there's a boatload of information that is being left out near the sacrum, right up above the center of the butt. So it's a little too right angle-ish there for me. It looks like that in the photo. This is the sacrum right there, bowing out. So yeah. Ooh, we have a minute left, people. I feel like I smudged the line that separates. Maybe the single ribs get too dark if I want to go too fast. Yeah, so what you need to do over here is use a circular pencil stroke and scribble in the line that separates the light from the shadow, and then go over it like multiple times, like what I'm doing right here. I'm doing it very lightly. And that will solidify the line that separates light from the dark. That makes that like your dark halftone. And yes, I hope that helps. Okay, so let me just read these last questions. This drawing is done for this live stream. So let me do this. I'll leave the drawing up. So John, in a previous stream, you said that sketches and completing work are separate processes. Yes. When a student in your class can fill 99 sketchbooks, does completing work get easier for them? Yes. So we're talking about Dana, and Dana is I'm being comedic and not serious. Dana was an absolute psychopath, and in a good workaholic sort of way. And Dana was a very unique individual. Not everybody's like Dana. And so I wasn't like Dana at all when I was in school. I was like Dana when I graduated from school because it was do or die. So you don't need to fill 99 sketchbooks to be good, especially in 4 years. That's like a little crazy. You just need to give yourself like a time frame that's going to work for you. Maybe you're going to work 5 days a week, 5 hours at a clip. I don't know what your end goals are, so it's really, really hard for me to answer this question. Like, I need more context, and we don't have time for that in this stream. So maybe visit us on the next stream and ask this at the beginning so I can really give you a complete answer. But everything counts, right? All the work that you do in your sketchbooks counts for you with your eye-hand coordination and getting better. But ultimately, there needs to be a consistent work process for what you want to do. So if you want to paint book covers digitally, what is most important is that you have a process for doing so and you constantly practice that process. I have a process for doing this drawing right here. I started with just the toned paper. I just used the pencil. Then we introduced the white charcoal, and then we blended it, and then we did it in layers. I'll do that process every single time. And what you need to figure out is what your process is for what you want to do. And your process and getting really good at that is more important than finishing 99 sketchbooks. Don't get me wrong. 99 sketchbooks is great. You will get better, but you don't need to do that. You just need to be clear on what your end game is and create a process. Hope that helped. You will always see a direct benefit from drawing more, but if you're just drawing like willy-nilly and there's no like end game to it and you're just scribbling and constantly doing like 1-minute gestures and or you're just doing like 3-hour-long drawings and that's all you do, like you're not going to necessarily, there needs to be context and you need to know what your end game is. Yeah, she was definitely an outlier. Definitely an outlier. All right, everybody, let me switch cameras here, and we're going to call this live. Now, listen, please make sure that you like the video. That would be so helpful. Make sure that you, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you want to go the extra mile and click on the bell notification thing so the next time I go live, you actually get notified, that would be helpful. Now, for those of you who want to help even more the channel, click on the more link below the video and maybe check out my website. Maybe consider a membership for a month. For $20, like you can get your artwork critiqued every single Monday, which is insanely inexpensive for feedback from somebody like myself who has been teaching for I don't even know how long, maybe 28 years at the School of Visual Arts. I've taught thousands of students. I've helped so many people grow and become successful. So for a mere $19 to get 4 critiques in 1 month is totally worth it. Maybe you want to go the extra mile and check out my coaching. You can sign up for a one-time coaching where you send me your portfolio of work and I'll critique it. And then we have a follow-up Zoom call. So that's another option for you, okay? So that's my little mini self-promotion. Thank you, everybody. We're going to call this live stream done. Yeah, there are references on my website. There are. Not every reference that I use here on the live stream is on my website, although this one's going on the website because I'm going to put the live stream up there. And okay? So thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. Absolutely. Yeah, you got it tomorrow. Hope I said your name right. John, thank you. I appreciate you joining. Maybe we'll see you next week. Absolutely. Truffs is completely out. Just giving people a chance to say goodbye here. Phoenix, thank you so much. CN90, thank you. And Raffaele, thank you for the stream. I appreciate you joining. And yes, everybody, take care, and I will see you soon next week. And we'll do another one. I don't know what we're going to do, but yeah, we'll see you soon. Have a good night, okay? Awesome.